Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Gruber Wired Hour. I'm Mark Beach.
I am John Dotson, and thank you once again for joining us on this fabulous Thursday afternoon.
Yes, happy Pie Day.
Banana cream?
3.1415.
That doesn't sound very delicious.
No. Do you know what pie is?
Pie. Yes, it's very yummy.
We'll just leave it at that.
It just continues forever.
Yeah, it's a mathematical equation. Yeah. It's the relationship between the circumference and the diameter of a circle.
Also happens to be, Pi Day is a day that we were just discussing.
A radius. Huh?
The famous people on this day.
Oh, right, yeah. Albert Einstein's birthday today.
Yeah, Albert Einstein, and let's see, what else?
It was the anniversary of Stephen Hawking's death.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So
lots of things, yeah.
That's what you call ironical.
Ironical.
Wait, that's today is that day, or are we just celebrating it today?
No, today is Pi Day.
Today is Pi Day. Okay, because I saw on Twitter this morning, too, it's Sir Michael Caine's 91st birthday as well.
Really? He's 91 now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they call it Pi Day because it's March 14th, so 3/14.
Oh, yeah,
Neil
yeah.
deGrasse Tyson posted something
yeah.
about it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah. Wow. So learn something new every day.
That's heavy.
Something I want to give a shout out to. Behind the scenes here, Jesse and Aaron are with us, and gosh, you guys do such a great job, and you're underappreciated for what you do.
Thank you.
So thank you guys very much.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in the news, I just want to bring this up because it's such a hot topic right now. TikTok.
TikTok.
You know those little fresh breath mints, TikToks. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're funny. You're a funny guy, Dotson.
But yeah, TikTok's all over the news right now with what's taking place. So tell me more about what's going on with that. What's your take on the whole TikTok situation?
My take is it's government censorship run amok. I think it's inappropriate, for them to be censoring a platform like that.
You think this will lead to other censorships then if this goes through? I
think it potentially could. And when a lot of Republicans and like all of the Democrats agree on something, it's bad for America.
Not necessarily bad, but they agree upon something. That could be a positive and a good step too, correct?
No, not these days. No. I definitely look twice when something like that happens.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron, you were speaking about TikTok earlier. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I don't know. Like what Mark was saying, when you got both sides kind of agreeing to this, it makes you kind of wonder what is really going on with TikTok. Now, I do know that, this is kind of started back in the Trump administration where they were trying to do some regulations with it. I'm not 100% sure what exactly was passed. If I remember right, it was more about government-issued phones and devices that were able to play TikTok that I think were banned.
Right.
Yeah.
Has that been rolled back with the Biden administration, or is that still enforced?
No, that's still enforced as far as I.
And some cities and towns and states have enacted that same kind of ban on their official devices.
Yeah, I think Montana was one that was trying to push that through.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So it just makes you think, doing a little search here, it does show, I guess there has been some knowledge that the Chinese government has been involved with ByteDance. ByteDance owns TikTok.
Yes, correct.
And there has been some involvement. So I think that's where the uproar is coming up. They don't like that the Chinese government is involved with ByteDance in some ways. It's kind of unclear what exactly their involvement is. It's not a day-to-day operation thing, but there is some type of involvement. It'd be like if our government was involved with Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter,
Correct,
or Instagram.
Our government is. They just want to be the only one spying on us.
Right. This is true. And, with TikTok, you would think that with all the millions of dollars that the Chinese government gave Biden, that he'd give them a break on this.
Yeah,
I
was joking.
No, it's. They did. It's not.
I know they did.
Okay, yeah, I know.
What was interesting though is it looked like before the new administration came in, it did look like that Oracle and Walmart were working on something with ByteDance to take over like an American side of TikTok, which is kind of interesting.
Well, what's interesting to me is the fact that this is one of the first times in my history that I've heard of the government looking at somebody and saying, hey, you possibly need to sell that company or we're going to ban you. I mean, that's a pretty hard line to draw in the sand.
Well, I believe there are some people that have offered to purchase TikTok or have initiated some kind of overture in that direction. But I personally think it's because normal people can communicate and information gets out pretty quick on TikTok, and the government can't control that. Like they've convinced and scared, YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. You're great, by the way. Thanks for having our show. But there's certain things that you can and can't say on YouTube. Otherwise, it gets shut down. You can't talk about certain things.
Same with other platforms too, Facebook and so forth.
Right. The government can't censor you, but they can get companies to censor you. Yeah. Think about that for a minute.
It's just a roundabout way of censoring you.
Right.
Either way, they're getting their point across.
Yep. I mean, there has to be some level of censorship, though, right? We have to. I mean, because we don't want to get into this kind of stuff, but then you start getting into what is actually allowed, like, because then if you're really a free speech absolutist, a freedom of expression absolutist, then you got to start letting like child exploitation and other things out there that people want to express. That's part of their free speech.
Harm to others is where the line is drawn.
Yeah.
Right.
So there is still censorship at some point.
Sure. There has to be. I mean, I can agree with that. There has to be some censorship along the road. Just like you said, to protect the public safety.
Yeah. Inciting violence, doing that kind of stuff is just not good.
Right. But then you get into, this little COVID thing that happened and, all of the censorship that took place with that. And that's just a bridge too far. It's like, who is the arbiter of where the line is drawn?
That's good thing though. Yeah. But so what if we're also talking about capitalist society? You have to believe in the company's right to decide what's free speech for their platform. It's their company. They built it. They run it.
I agree.
Right, and then they get hauled before Congress for not doing it. So
there's always consequences.
Which we've seen those CEOs go up there in front of Congress and they say what they want, whatever Mark Zuckerberg, for example, he goes up there, looks like a robot. People call him a lizard man, and he's up there for an hour or 2 hours in front of Congress. And then a few months later, we hear about a Facebook leak where 100 million users get their data leaked. So he's still doing the same stuff anyway. Them going in front of Congress doesn't change what these companies are doing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, it really doesn't. It's just a way for them to show that they care.
Yeah, it's just lip service.
It is.
Right.
It's all it is lip service at that point in time.
100%.
But yeah, we're always going to continue to have this conversation because I'd say even though we're still going to have more platforms that are, come out, and eventually that line is going to have to be drawn. Someone's going to have to stand up and say, okay, this is where we stand.
Right.
But it starts now. And I think that's really what they're working towards.
Right. Well, and the wrench in the works, and to your point, Jesse, I think is that it's what do you think? We're not ink and pen anymore or printing press.
Yeah.
Information travels at the speed of light. Mm-hmm. So what's the saying? A lie can spread around the world before truth wakes up to have breakfast, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yep.
Very, very, very true. I think personally, I'm all for this. Might be a little away from the capitalist, but I think that social media should be now. This depends on having the right people in place to be the regulators and the government officials. But I think it should be treated like a utility. I think the internet should be treated like a utility. I think it should be a human right that everyone has access to freely, and I think social media should be regulated like a power utility or something as well. Like it's provided for us. It shouldn't be
like a phone company, phone company. Yeah. I completely agree with that. I think that they enjoy protections right now against lawsuit based on what's published on their platforms. I forget what it's called, section something, but they're protected as not a publisher, as merely a medium, right? But then when they take a censorship role, they are controlling what's on their platform. So then they enjoy protections, and they also can control what goes out there.
Yeah, and it's all profit driven. I mean, once Jesse's absolutely right on that. If we can get away from the profit driven, scenario that has taken place, then you can see a different type of regulatory control over it.
Yep, I agree.
And then you might see some progress along with what we're looking for to protect people.
Yeah,
I think the solution is just go back to Snapchat.
Hey, yeah, one-on-one, auto delete, it's all good.
Or just the old standard Polaroids. Remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is kind of ironic, though, that a foreign company like, China, like this is a Chinese company, and we're actually trying to keep it in America and on American devices. That does, for some reason, that does seem to be kind of weird. You don't think we would come to this.
You wouldn't think that, but I think, again, looking back at the way that this designed, it's all a money issue. You know how much money is involved in this?
Well, look too at all the different platforms that have tried to emulate the functionality of it, like Facebook with Reels, right? Yeah. YouTube has Shorts, right? None of that was before TikTok, right?
Yeah. They created that whole market of digestible, short little clips,
right? Yep. Yeah,
which has made a lot of money.
A lot of money for a lot of people.
Bottom line, money.
Yep, that's it.
So speaking of money, we need more money for our school systems.
No, we don't.
No,
No, we don't.
No, we don't. No, we don't. What we need is people properly managing the money. I think they have enough.
Yeah, you think they have enough?
I do think they have enough. I think they have plenty.
I bring this up because you are part of the council for the district for.
No, I am merely a voice in the crowd.
Okay.
But yes, I work on a committee that works to elect school board members. So yes.
Yeah, to help better the future of our children.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and
good place to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to mention Deer Valley here in a little bit, but we had a hand in defeating the bond and override that went through or was voted on not too long ago, like over $300 million that they wanted. And, we put together a strong grassroots effort. And for the first time, probably in 25 years, they got rejected on their bond and override.
Was it a proposition or something that was trying to be passed?
It was called a bond. They did a bond and an override. It was I forget what they called it on the ballot, an issue or whatever, but I think it might have been a proposition. But it was only for the Deer Valley School District, so all the residents of Deer Valley School District, right,
stood up against it.
Right, and the last bond passed with a 10% margin. This one got defeated by a 15% margin, so we had a 25% swing based on our grassroots efforts. And looking at the real numbers, not just, this isn't just throw a bunch of hate against the wall against something.
Sure.
I mean, these were valid concerns, valid issues with how money is being spent. And what really sucks about doing stuff like that is that if it gets approved, it's approved for 5 years.
Sure. Yeah.
And by the way, at a 40% interest rate.
Oof.
If it fails, they can keep bringing it back every year, and that's something I want to change next. Is how that works.
You're going to have this battle again next year, then,
right?
Yeah. So that got you got it shot down, and so that's cleared the way. And speaking about the money that's in the school system,
right?
What do you see happening with those funds and the allocation towards technology?
So interestingly enough, when I started here with Gruber and became an account manager and have been interacting with all sorts of people around the country who use our products, quite often we would get in the mix people that did whether they were in a school district payroll or doing work for school districts. There's a lot of people out there who do break fix, and then they also do construction, new school construction, upgrade type of construction, but datacom related. I think that, things are moving pretty fast in the school arena. The technology, they want the kids on the tech, and they feel that is a good learning environment. Personally, I like textbooks, and I think that, the tablets and all that are great, but you can also change things without parental permission. You can start feeding information and parents don't know about it. Whereas textbooks, it's in writing, curriculum gets reviewed, and that's that.
Yeah, you're not going to change that overnight.
Right.
Yeah. Jesse, can you pull up picture number 1? We're going to go back in time a little bit here. Going back to days of when, basic school started.
Yep. The one-room schoolhouse.
That's right.
Yeah, they taught.
I want to call it 1.0 and then 1.
Oh, I think it's 1.0. Let's try that.
Oh, this is the Blizzard. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, the previous I gave you this week.
Yeah.
So we're working on that, but yeah, I remember going to grade school. And you hear those stories our parents said. We had to walk through snow and up and down hills and
there
all
we
that.
go.
Hey, look at that. There we go. This is a picture of our senior staff members, our management team when they were back in school.
Aren't you in trouble enough already?
Right? You see Greg over there, and there's Janie.
Oh, man. Address your concerns to dot@gruber.com. There you go. Hey, he'll probably get pelted when we walk back on the floor.
Probably.
Yes.
So, does this look familiar to anyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesse, do you know what it is?
No, Aaron?
What's that black thing in the back?
The black thing in the back? You mean up against
stove.
the wall? That's a wood stove.
That's how they heated the rooms back then.
And this actual particular classroom was actually the church, too, for this community.
Yes.
Anyway, this comes from Little House on the Prairie.
Yep.
So it's a series I grew up with.
Yep.
I know a lot of other people did.
Yep.
But yeah, so anyway, that's a photo here. And what you're seeing here was pretty typical of that particular time period for teaching in the classroom.
Right.
And you can see they're holding the school books there. And then you had that
Multiple
other board
grades.
up there, which people may not know there is a chalkboard.
Yeah. Did you ever use chalkboards, Aaron?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
My old baseball coach was also my math teacher. He was old school, had a chalkboard.
Okay.
And I learned how to put your nails on the chalkboard because I always heard about it, but I never was able to try it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty effective. A lot of people hated it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and if you ever watch this series, when the kids got in trouble in class, the teacher, what's her name, Miss Beal? Beetle, that was it, Miss Beetle. She would make the kids stay after class and have to clean the chalk erasers.
Right. I had to go beat chalk erasers out on the, but I graduated from, I went to Cocopah Elementary School, so K through 8.
Yeah.
In Scottsdale. It's now a middle school, but it was brick building. You have to go outside and bang the erasers against the brick.
Yeah, have to clean them out after class every day. But that's really depictor of where we started out, back
and that was multiple grades
in
in one room, and they just taught. It's kind of,
Yeah, and then we kind of move up forward a little bit. Picture number 2, please.
And by the way, this kind of stuff still happens.
Yeah.
Homeschooling.
Yeah.
There are people who homeschool, and you know what? Kids turn out great.
They do.
Hold on, I got to separate these because the old ones are still in there. 1 second.
Okay, no problem. But Kim says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Kim. I think that's Pete. Gruber Motor Company says that's a potbelly stove.
Yes.
That's what they called them. and Kim, you're right. That's a Little House on the Prairie. So
yes, while we're waiting, so make sure you like, subscribe, and share this podcast. We are going to be on every Thursday at 3 p.m. Arizona time. We just had the time change now, so it's it starts at 6 p.m. on the East Coast instead of 5. So you get home, have your dinner, kick your feet up, pop on YouTube, and watch us live.
Yeah, run home really quick, throw some Hot Pockets in the microwave, sit down in front of the computer.
Yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Entertainment.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, here's a classroom that would look very familiar to us when we were going through that stage growing up. That is a projector, overhead projector. They would take these little slides and they'd put them on there, and then it would portray the information up onto a either a wall or a pull down screen like that.
Yep.
And then they use dry erase markers on there as well when we were doing math problems.
Yes.
And so forth. So that was actually a huge technological advancement,
sure.
For what we had to deal with, along with the chalkboard.
Yeah. I remember even like, oh man, it's been 25 years ago now. But I started going to a church and they still used an overhead.
Did they?
Yeah, for the songs, right? And the youth would put the song, the sheets up there and people would get the words from that. And now it's not even.
The downside to this technology, however, and I remember this several times, those things would heat up fast.
They did get hot.
And if they left a slide on there, that plastic would start to melt. Yeah.
Yeah, everything used bulbs.
Yeah.
Even, the projector machines, and watch a movie on the projector. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you slide to picture number 3. And then...
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of go through these here. So
yeah, we are. So just have them handy and ready to go.
Well, yeah, I just got to go through them in a way that, because they're all jumbled. The old images from last week didn't get deleted.
Gotcha, no problem at all. But here we go. Then we advance up into this technology here. I remember we were talking about this before the show. My science class in 1986. We're in class. The teacher says, "Hold on." The door opens. He goes running out. And then we hear this cart being wheeled down the hallway. He opens the door with his foot and he brings this cart in and he says, "Just be quiet." And he turns it on. And we were able to watch the Space Shuttle Challenger.
Oh.
At that point in time that had exploded.
Yeah.
And it was breaking news.
Right.
And so that was our first introduction to breaking news in our particular science class that day.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember that. It was a sad day because that was a big moment.
Yeah, that definitely would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then strangely after that class, we took that same cart and we wheeled it down to another classroom and we went in there and the teacher put on the movie Strange Brew for us to watch.
Never seen it.
So we got to watch Strange Brew that day too, which they wouldn't allow us anymore.
No,
in this day and age, you're not going to be able to watch a show like that in class.
All right.
So then number 4, Kim says, "That was not a punishment for us. We volunteered for a break from the classroom."
Yeah, to do the
chalkboard,
the erasers. Yeah, no, absolutely.
This photo depicts what I know I went through typewriting class. You have to do that when you were in school?
I did. As a matter of fact, I took typing during a summer class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And that was interesting.
Yeah.
Was that a voluntary summer class?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I
had a couple of those involuntary ones.
I know I was a straight A guy, but I was stupid. I took German. I took, typing.
Yeah.
Because back then we didn't have the internet to entertain kids, so parents would sign their kids up for different stuff for the summer. So they had day classes out at Judson in Scottsdale, and me and some of my buddies would do that. We also did ballroom dancing, as youngins.
We did Foursquare,
we were kept they got us out of the house as much as they could.
Whoa, Kim, thank
Y'all
you.
are old. Hey, Kim, what are you saying? What are you talking about?
Wow.
Thanks for that.
He's old.
Not much older than you. That's okay.
We are old. I guess we got typewriters that we used to work on. You can find these used at yard sales now. I don't think they're used much anymore.
My dad still has 2. They're Underwoods, I think
Isn't
they're
that?
called.
I know who chemistry is. Okay, all right.
Game on.
Paybacks are, you know what they are.
And then we advanced from the typewriter into one of the first computer systems that was used in our classrooms. And it just so happens to be Oregon Trail was one of the things that we always played around with, and they brought in some of the very first types of games that we were able to, educational games, to play.
Those little 5 1/4 discs.
Yeah.
Yep. I bet you somewhere in my garage I still have some of those.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I do too. I'm sure somewhere hanging out.
I've died so many times of dysentery.
Yeah, right. You got me going, Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave that one alone.
We're not going to even no. Don't even recognize him.
Just put the hand up.
Yep.
Talk to the hand, Kim.
Kim, that's a name like Pat. It can go either way.
True.
And I won't say it.
How fun. But yeah,
Oregon Trail. There was you know what I remember about those discs and those kinds of computers was not the games, but like Print Shop Pro.
Yeah.
Where you could make banners, so it was all textual like that, but you could kind of get an idea what it would look like, and then you would have your dot matrix your dot matrix printer.
Yep.
And print out banners for happy birthday or whatever.
Yeah. And they were just kind of and these banners run long, but the paper was all folded.
Well, yeah, it had the tracks on there, and then you peel the tracks off. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Down memory lane.
Yeah. So next up, we're going to advance a little bit more here to taking a look at what we have nowadays. So nowadays, this is basically the chalkboard that's being used.
Yep.
It's a media screen. They call them smart whiteboards. But this is now a new technology that's being able to be delivered straight into the classroom.
Why do test scores get worse? Technology was, and test scores get worse now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good question, because technology has advanced quite a bit compared to what we used to have.
Right.
I don't know.
It's nice, though. It's pretty.
Let's ask Kim.
Yeah, Kim, why are test scores so bad these days?
But this is some of the new technology that we see in a lot of classrooms nowadays.
Yep.
Are they using these in the Deer Valley Unified School District?
I think so. I don't know for sure, but I would assume so.
Yeah, Kim, that's the paper that had little holes on the side. They go inside the tracks of the printer.
For work, we had the green bar that would go. There were these little things, the little blue binder thing where it was just two covers and a piece of plastic that shot up through the holes, and then you put them together. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So the reason we even got on this topic was partly because of some customers that I had talked about early on, that are in the school environment or subcontracting in the school environment.
Sure.
And we were looking at solutions. One specifically had asked me about passive zone enclosures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what that was or why they existed until, we started researching it and started seeing, who produces those. And it was a very interesting piece of it's not really super techy, but the idea is to run main feeds from the server room and then branch them out at different places within a facility, whether it's a hospital or a school or even a business office that might, the floor might be very long, but you have your zone enclosures and you can do it in copper or fiber.
Yeah, and these are up in the ceiling joists, right?
Right. So you do one run from the server room, and then it branches out from there. So if you have to replace something, usually it's going to be the ends where you plug it in inside the rooms.
Yeah, Jesse, if you pull up starting with number 11 now, the ceiling media box, and we have some pictures of this. Hey, Daryl, greetings to you as well. Thank you for joining us today. So this is what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, kind of. The one that I think, it is. But
yeah, we got some more to show here.
Right. I think the one that number 12 might be the right one, right?
Yeah, that's the number 12 is showing that opened in the ceiling.
Oh, okay. Number 13 then.
Number 13 will actually start to show the application purposes of it.
Right. That enclosure's a little smaller, but these are like 4U depth, and they're 2 foot by 2 foot. So let me just say that right, from the outset, this is one of the really great things about Gruber, because we don't make these right now, but we're about to. And we sat down and we talked, and our boss, Greg, saw the vision for it, and he's been all totally supportive, and actually, really got buy-in from around the company on manufacturing our own.
Yeah, very
because
cool.
the price point on these is pretty darn expensive. So we were like, why can't we build those? I mean, we make server racks, we make all the shelving, all the goodies that go in there, all the accessories that go in the server room, right? So why can't we do something like this? And we talked to our guy, Chaz.
Yeah, our engineer over in the metal shop.
Right. And he said, yeah. So right now he's getting things together, if he hasn't already started working on it. And we're going to be producing these and offering them at Gruber. And the price point is going to be great.
Yeah, it's got a great price point. That's one of the best things about it from what we're taking a look at. Plus, it's something that we can take rather quickly into production.
Right. And I mean, you would not believe how expensive these things are. I mean, anywhere from $700-800 to $1,500.
Yeah,
they're 2x2. They go in the ceiling, right? And depending on how you want to use it, because some of them are for multimedia, so they drop down and you insert your components in there. So those need, if there are electronic components in there that are powered up, right, then you're going to need venting. So there's power fans and stuff like that in there. But for regular ones, what does number 14 look like?
Now, I have a question for you.
That one.
Yeah, that's a feed through.
Right.
The way
and
that's set up.
That's exactly how it would normally be set up if we're doing what we're talking about. And whether it's fiber or copper, you're coming in from your server room feed, and then you have your breakouts to the other classrooms or hospital rooms, but you're able to do them individually from a shorter distance. And that way, if anything goes wrong, it's not a full run back to the server room to replace it.
Sure. And being that this isn't put up in a ceiling void, I'm assuming plenum cabling would be the way to go with this.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. And the other reason is for security, because you run feeds from a server room. Well, if you have a contractor that's coming in and working, you don't want them in and out of your server room. But if you terminate to here, then you can have them come in and they don't have to have access. So you could do this on a weekend. Your people don't have to be in there, letting them inside where all the switches are and everything.
Plus, this is in the ceiling where you're not going to have an issue, especially in a school system with kids getting into it and maybe causing some damage.
Right. And the box is lockable. So we're, that's what we're producing as well, as a lockable box. And again, just a great idea that we're jumping on and going to produce here and really kick off.
Now, how large can we actually go with this? I mean, have you guys talked about the expansion of these and how much room we can actually put inside one of these boxes for equipment?
Well, so it's a 4U, right? 4 rack units. So I believe the 24 that's on there right now is 1 rack unit.
Okay.
Right. So it just depends on what you want to use it for. And then again, we're not talking about powered devices up in there. We're talking about strictly pass-through type stuff. But if if we're looking at fiber, I mean, the capacity for fiber in there is probably 1,000. 1,200, something like that.
I imagine it'd be pretty large.
Yeah.
Now, these could also be, say, used on a wall void too, as well. So especially since they're lockable, if you had to, or had an idea, do you need to put in a closet and put something like this in the wall?
I wouldn't see why not. They could be adapted instead of having the because those will be built with the ceiling for tie rods to either the ones that bend and wrap and twist, or the actually threaded rods that come from drop ceilings. So they're built to hang and suspend there independently of the ceiling. But the wall units, I think, because that's 24 inches wide, I think the spacing between studs would be a problem. I think we would have to narrow the application for it to do that. So we'd have to run it up and down, the patch up and down. And I don't know how that would work. It would have to come in like that because you can't come through the studs.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it would have to be adjusted to be usable in a wall environment. But that could be a whole line. I mean, we could just put together a line that goes with that as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's exciting. So I brought that up because it's exciting to be a part of a company who you show something to and they go, yeah, let's jump on it. And here we are, down a journey now. I think we've been at this for about 3 weeks.
Has it been about that? Yeah.
Maybe a little longer.
So we should have a prototype here soon.
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
And along with that, we can also do custom labeling on these as well.
Right. They can be white labeled.
Going into, say, Deer Valley Unified School District, that could be right on there.
Right. Exactly.
So lots of options. And we can also color code, change color. Doesn't always have to be white.
Yeah. Chaz will love you saying that.
I know.
The powder coater, it's white.
The powder coaters.
White or black. Yeah. But it's exciting because, these are some of the things. And when you work in environments like that where, it's classroom or even hospital rooms or, like I said, business offices where they're large floors with big runs, it makes a lot of sense to have something like this set up.
Yeah. Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of stuff coming out of there. I'm going to go back in time a little bit. Number 10, Jesse. Let's see if anybody recognizes what this is. Give us a shout out.
I know it's not what my note says. I know it's not what my note says.
Ring a bell with you, Jesse? Can you figure out what this is? Aaron? Any
Give me
guesses?
a second. I'm on a delay over here.
Oh, are you?
He's Googling it. That's his delay.
Is that his delay? He's going to Google it.
All right, time's up.
This
school
is
schedule?
It's the little.
Let's see. Does he know?
Yeah, it's the little trivia sheet thing, right?
Trivia sheet thing.
Okay.
Because it's something else that ages us a little bit,
I thought it was like the pH thing on a pool or something.
When we used to have to go to a library, they needed a system in order to look up the reference of books. So what you're looking at here is a Dewey Decimal System.
What's a library?
What's a library? Right? Anymore, that is a good question.
Yeah. Well, they still exist.
No, this was the Dewey Decimal System, which was in place for decimal. I can't say it.
You're saying it like you wrote it.
Yeah,
like decibel.
Hey.
Is that the tolerances of sound that you can take? Okay.
No.
Yeah. It's how loud can you take it?
Right. But yeah, this was how you were able to go library,
right?
And you'd go to the Rolodex and you'd pick out a little card, and they were all coded there as to the type of literature you're looking for, and it would point you in the right direction in the library to go, and you'd look at the side of the bookcase, and it would have the number up on top, and you were able to go and locate the book you were looking for.
Well, if you watch the movie, National Treasure Book of Secrets, that would clue you into.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie, guys?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I watched the National Treasure ones, the Nicolas Cage ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen iRobot.
You had to remind me. I hit you on Monday, and I had totally forgot the rest of the week.
I know, right?
I haven't harassed you at all about it.
Hey, Aaron, did you have a question there?
Yeah, is this what Google replaced?
No.
That's funny.
I think if you go into a library, you will still find the Dewey Decimal System is alive and well.
It's probably there somewhere, but it's computerized now. So if you go to picture number 8.
Well, probably the cards are
you're not going to find the cards anymore,
but I'm sure they're organized by the numbers.
Yeah. So more of a modern day fit for a library nowadays is coming up here. But yeah, we used to have to go and we used to have to hunt those books down. And then you spend all that time, you'd find the card, you'd go over and you find the bookcase and you go looking for it and realize that somebody checked it out and forgot to mark the card.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this one's not opening.
No? Okay.
Number 8, hold on, I'm trying it again.
We have an 8, we don't have a number 9.
No. But yeah, that's, well, they're probably using it back there in that bookcase.
Yeah.
Gosh, I just remember, how about school lunches back in the day? Remember the cardboard pizza?
Right. Yep. But the books are still on the shelf.
Yeah, we still have the books there, and of course, there's still that system there to find them. You're right.
Right.
But you can see here we do have, capability of having computers now. Which case, I imagine they use both media.
So what I was talking about, I don't have an image for it, but there's it's like a long rectangular booklet of trivia questions, and they were color coded like that. So it might have been using that system. I don't know, but it was back in the 90s. All kids had these in their house. Like you just flip through these with your parents and go through trivia questions of whatever.
Interesting.
Huh. I don't remember that.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like 1001 trivia questions, and it was like, I don't know. I'll try and find an image.
Called Trivial Pursuit. It was a game.
Yeah.
So this is what I have for number 8. Is there another one you're expecting?
No, that was it.
That's
just
it?
showing
Okay.
a modern day library and just the idea and concept of where we've come with, being able to have technology in the library to coincide with the paperbacks that we have.
Right. So if you have any questions or comments, please chime in. We have Daryl, of course, and
We got some coming in here.
chemistry.
Yeah, and then we're getting moving into stages of virtual reality for teaching.
Right.
Starting to see more and more of that come along. And we got Kim making some moves here for us. That's great customer service, sir. Drum roll. A legend for high school.
We're aging ourselves, huh?
I got it when you said library.
They scanned the barcode on the inside.
You guys are aging yourselves. Thank you. That's Seth Murdoch. That's my son. He decided to chime in today.
Okay.
Thank you, Seth. Yeah. You're not invited over ever again for dinner.
Brain Quest.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Pizza.
Okay.
Kim wants some pizza, huh? Brain Quest. Okay, I do remember that.
Yeah, I don't recall, but
Yeah. Brain Quiz. There we go. Now, we never had that in our home, but I do recall seeing that.
It didn't have the numbers, I guess, but it had the color coordination kind of similar, but it was a flip book that you go through.
okay.
So
Interesting.
Does it show some of the questions on there? Read a question for us, Jesse.
Which U.S. president was killed in the city of Dallas on November 22nd, 1963?
Starts with a J.
That was 9 months to the day before I was born.
Was it?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are that old.
I
Kim
am
was
that old.
right.
You're okay. All right. Okay.
Seth was right.
Yeah.
So, Aaron, what about you in school? What was your what was school like for you with technology?
A little bit of mixture of the computer. Yeah, mostly the computer. I remember the Oregon Trail days back in elementary school, and then as we got into middle school, we had the colorful Macs, like the blues and the pink, kind of like a dome-looking computers. And then as we got into high school, it was they just kept on increasing the technology in there.
Sure.
So I only had one or two old school teachers that I can remember that were still like chalkboard, and one of them had that slide rule thing for math.
Yes. Forgot about that.
And was trying to teach us that, and that didn't work out too well. So,
No?
I mean, we all had TI 89 calculators, that could do the work for us. So, yeah.
Yeah. We had a computer lab when I was in high school. So
We did.
Yeah.
We had one, and I went through some of that, and I remember we sat there, and for days we were programming, typing simple stuff
DOS.
in order to make a small little black and white boat go across the screen. So, but that was it back then. We're like, whoa, check that out. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
But it's come a long
Everything
ways.
builds on something else.
Yeah. What about you, Jesse? What was technology like for you in school?
I had technology all throughout. I remember from the time I was very young, I was always into computers and tech. And I would, when I got to 8th grade, I actually would run around because we had the high school and then the middle school and the elementary all in the same complex. And so I remember when we got our T1 installed there. I remember running around in 8th grade helping the high school computer lab teacher fight virus with a floppy disk.
Really?
So I remember those days. And then I also remember when I was a young kid in middle school, I would rent a Super Nintendo and rent a Nintendo 64. So
yeah,
that was like early 90s, mid 90s. So yeah, I've been involved with tech since the very, very beginning of my youth.
Yeah, and nowadays it seems like the schools are providing iPads, Chromebooks.
Right. So talk to a good buddy of mine who's on the Deer Valley School Board, Paul Carver, Cake Paul. So Deer Valley actually supplies the iPads and the Chromebooks, and they use iPads for kindergarten, and then they use them for high school.
Wow.
Right. And then they use the Chromebooks from 1st through 8th grade.
Okay.
Yep. And the first one's free, but after that, the parents have to pay if the kid breaks it or whatever. Right.
But it's nice that they're able to provide this technology for students.
Right.
Now, from your experience, though, since you're more involved in it, is it getting used properly? Or is the education working properly with these tools?
Well, I don't have firsthand experience with that. I think because my kids didn't have that, and they're all older.
Yeah.
Because I'm older. So,
So Richard didn't have computers and stuff growing up?
We did. Sure he did. But he didn't have, the school didn't give him a Chromebook.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the schools weren't providing it. Yeah.
Right.
Well, they weren't providing it with our kids when they were young.
Yeah.
So,
right.
And we definitely didn't have access to any of that.
No.
Not at that point in time.
Nope.
I remember we had a Mac in our computer lab, this had to have been 2002, 2003. When I was a freshman in high school, they had a bunch of Macs in our design lab. They had we had a separate computer lab that was regular stuff, but then it was the first anybody had heard of, because I came from a small town up north, and nobody even knew what a Mac was. So we were in there messing around with it, whoa, this thing's crazy. But
they had Apple for Education was a big school initiative. Yep.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So you have a question up there for you. Did you ever use dial-up, Jesse?
I did use dial-up. I hated it so much. Yeah, I remember getting kicked off when people were making phone calls. I remember that whole entire
Call waiting was the death of the dial-up. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not a good experience. I remember trying to pirate music on dial-up.
Really?
It was not good.
I bet that did not work out well at all.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
But that's what we had to go through to get where we are today.
You know what my first 14.4 modem was? A U.S. robotics modem.
Really?
Now, that would mean something to you if you had watched iRobot.
Yes. No comment on the education. What do you mean by that?
Right. You're Kiki. You're right. It does, and I can't remember if it was something on the radio I was listening to yesterday, or whether it was something on TV. But they were talking about the fact, concerns in education, and kids just being able to read contracts. Be able to, because I know they can read it, but
understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Reading comprehension and then being able to do any kind of handwriting is terrible now.
Or reading. They don't even teach cursive anymore.
No.
That was like a staple when we were in school.
Okay, but how long are we going to need to do handwriting?
You're always going to have a need for it.
I don't think so. I don't think you will.
Cursive, though?
You don't think so?
Well, why cursive? I never understood.
Yeah, I've never used cursive in my life.
No?
And going back to the handwriting thing, my dad's handwriting was so terrible. He'd leave us notes on what to do over the summer. We couldn't accomplish anything because we couldn't read his handwriting.
Yeah, when is the last time you had to write something in cursive, like a full essay or something in cursive?
Every time I write out a check.
What, just your signature?
A check.
No.
How often do you write a check?
Yeah, what's a check?
When you write a check, you have to write the amount in cursive.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Right.
At least that's how we were taught.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to. I've been writing checks for a long time, and I've never done that.
Okay. Well,
That's the way we were taught.
Well,
at
you
the
did
time.
ask about the last time I did it, and it's the last time I wrote a check.
Yeah,
so
So the last time it was necessary. It's not a needed thing. I think you're doing it out of that's the way you were taught. I don't think it's like a needed thing in society to keep that going.
That was education at the time, and that we went through. I mean, that's what we knew. That's what we were trained on. That's what we were educated on.
Right.
And yes, that does change, and there has to be a need for change. I understand where they're coming from. Is writing a necessary tool that needs to be around? I think it will be. I don't think we're going to get away from that. There's still a necessity to understand how to read and write in the basics.
Right. Well, and cursive is just such it's an elegant way of writing. I mean, it's legible. Number one, it's
I could download a cursive font on Google.
DocuSign.
AI can make me a cursive font.
I know. There's a solution for everything, but
No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
but remember all this, junk that you're throwing this way. Your grandkids are do you have kids?
I do not.
Okay.
No.
Well,
I'm trying to
your
dodge that one.
Nieces and nephews are going to throw, or step nieces.
Yeah, I got a few of those. Yep.
Yeah. Or not step, but great.
Great
whatever.
nieces,
They're
nephews.
gonna throw it at you. You lived life without virtual reality. How could you do that?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's why it's such a hassle to go out and see the trees and hear the birds. You could just put a mask on and look at it. Why would you spend 20 minutes going out?
See, you guys are making the assumption that we're going to make it to that point.
We will. We'll
I'm an
get there.
optimist. That's right. Well, we're all working hard. What's a check?
That's probably true, Seth. Raising you and growing up with you, I don't think we ever took time to teach you how to use a check or a check register.
I think it's literally been over a decade since the last time I wrote a check. Probably even longer.
It's probably true, actually, for me, too.
It's been 30 or 40 years for me.
Tattoo artists need to know cursive.
Oh, yep, there you go.
There you go.
Yes,
all you got to do is
very
print
true.
out a stencil.
Jesse, he has an answer for everything.
I don't.
I
Pete has a perfect for us right there. Background is on track. So you see the background of the picture there and what's taking place. Right on track with the way technology is proceeding.
Yep.
It's kind of a little bit of everything. I mean, at the same time, you see all the tech in there. You also see some plants. You see some other organic things going on. It's not all done right there on the computer.
You kill me, man. You really kill me. Are these smart plants?
Smart plants.
I do have a genuine question, though, about the cursive thing.
Yeah.
So I understand the desire to retain some kind of history of, handwriting and elegance, and, you can use it for checks, or there's still certain use cases. But at what point does standing on ceremony get in the way of what that time could be used for? Instead of having them, in grade school writing out in cursive, write this sentence 20 times in cursive or whatever it used to be, right? How to get them trained on how to use cursive. We could redirect that into some other form of STEM or science, tech, mathematics, something like that. I don't think maintaining things just for the sake of ceremony is necessarily the best. I think we can push them into some other kind of tech where even if they're doing it, say, I would be okay with, let's learn cursive, but let's do it on an iPad using an Apple Pencil, and you learn how to use like 3D modeling software with an Apple Pencil to write in cursive. Something like that.
I mean, the idea is, why learn to cook when you can have food made for you? It's about slowing down because life is already too fast. And I think that we put so much pressure on kids and, the amount of information that hits them from all different directions are desensitized to it. Things like cursive take time and they take dexterity that, a lot of even that's very visible in print handwriting. You can tell somebody who knows cursive by how they print a lot of times because their handwriting in general is terrible. And so it's just a lesson or training in that type of slow down.
So you think it's like a mental discipline, like patience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's value in it for a lot of reasons that go beyond just the act of it. And sometimes, because they're on their phone, they're on their computer at home, they're on video games, all this stuff that's thrown at them so fast. it would be nice to have some things that are
Well, yeah, we need to learn to slow down
low
and
tech.
have a little more patience with things because information is coming at us and being bombarded at us so fast through these devices.
Yeah.
I mean,
They can,
it's just, you're like, we're always on overdrive.
Right. And I think that creates, it has the potential to create a lot of problems, for kids, for attention and focus and all that. So, I'm not saying that people should live their life writing cursive, but it's just a nice thing to be able to do. And can you read cursive?
I can, yeah. I did the whole cursive thing. Yep.
Okay. I mean, most, even if they can't write cursive, they can read it.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the same thing too. And then taking like music. Why learn to read music? Right. When it's right there you can just push a button and you can create your own music. And
it's a great point.
There is actually something for that too. It's tablature.
Yeah.
Tablature. You don't actually reading. So that's kind of similar to the cursive thing. You don't have to, and the barrier to entry for people to learn music and be able to play songs that they like and be able to write songs is far less if you just learn tablature rather than reading music. That's the same as going into one of these other forms of writing, or even just using a computer and learning typing instead of going into cursive. The barrier to entry is lower. It's current. It's going to be in use a lot longer. And it's just easier to get into.
But it goes back to the basics. I mean, I grew up with music. I read music. I understood music. It's like reading a book. It's an art.
Right. And even if you write music, how are the musicians are going to play your music, play it, unless they can read music?
They have to understand the book, the music. They have to have a comprehension of the direction of it.
I agree exactly what you're saying. It's in art. Then I don't think as much resources should be given to art in school. I think it should be focused more on STEM. That's my opinion. Yeah. But I agree. What you're saying, it is an art form.
It is, and that's something that's becoming lost throughout all of this technology. And that's one thing with the developing technology is coming through is the access to be able to be perfect. Now that they can create perfect pitch just through a computer.
Right.
Auto-tune. You have all these things taking place. But yeah, it's just technology is going that roadmap, and that's where it's going. So I think the artistry that we're leaving behind is becoming a lost concept.
Ooh, I got a quote for you guys that I just told Pete the other day about creatives and artistry. Sam Altman, the guy that created ChatGPT, said a couple years ago that we're 5 years away from all creative professionals being out of work. And that means we're about 2 years roughly away from that now. And I think that's actually coming true with the power of ChatGPT and the way that creative jobs are going to go. So
yeah, it's going to be a lost art form. It really is.
Yeah.
Can you pull up the last picture for us, number 18? Speaking of lost art forms, Wild Stallion, great music band. And we're going to leave you with this today, that going through school, these guys had the most amazing technology to travel through time. And what they learned was to be excellent to each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
be excellent to each other.
To each other.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So good old Bill and Ted there, and what they went through in their school days.
Yeah.
What's Kim say? The arts are
where lives.
Where creativity lives, you could kill technology the way as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say that, whether it's photography or music or painting, I mean legitimate paint, not paint on a tablet. I don't think those are ever going to go out of style, and I think that it is such a therapeutic, cathartic thing to be able to play music or to be able to paint or do anything that's on a creative side. My outlet is photography. No one can recreate what I can see through my lens and produce, because my image is real. It really happened, and somebody can create a likeness of it on a computer, but it didn't really happen.
Yeah.
And there's a difference, in that to me. I think, when we're talking about, schools and the arts, I think it's hugely important. I think that, sports is hugely important. Everything cannot be about technology. Otherwise, the quality of life is greatly diminished. I think that, we are on a journey that transcends knowledge. It's experiential as much as it is accumulation of knowledge, and the proper application of it is only derived from things that build the soul.
Sure.
Yeah, I had a boss that once told me, there, and we see this with like lotto winners, right? However much money somebody makes only amplifies their weaknesses. It doesn't show their strengths. It amplifies their weaknesses. So what happens is the more money somebody makes, or the higher in a company somebody moves, the Peter principle, the more incompetence that things can show, or
Sure.
Because the cracks begin to appear when the sphere is greater, right? And so these are things that build the soul. They build the person that's beyond the tech.
Sure. And what we have to do is understand how to mold and bring together that bridge between all of these platforms: technology, education, arts. They all have a place.
Right.
Together, some symbiotic relationship,
right,
that can be used to promote good.
And learning how to reason for yourself instead of necessarily, you do your research, but understand how to think, not let a machine do thinking for you. I think that's why, a lot of the censorship took place, because we have, people who don't have any capability of critical thinking, and instead they let, a decisioning system decide for them what is appropriate and not.
Yeah.
And that takes the soul out of it, right?
Yeah. So enrich your soul, open your heart, open your mind to technology, and continue to educate yourself.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next Thursday at 3 p.m. Arizona time. That's 6 p.m. on the East Coast. So, go grab some dinner, sit at the TV and watch us live. You can throw in questions, and we'll be happy to have you here. Like, subscribe, and share this podcast. For now, I'm Mark Beach.
I am John Dotson, and thank you once again.
Thanks.